Hello and welcome along to the Where's My Kit Bag podcast, here hosted to you by the three lovely media technicians at the Sixth Form College, Farnborough, myself, James.
Me, Will.
And me, Steve.
If you haven't noticed already, we've been away because it's been Easter.
Woohoo! Breaks for us.
Yay! Well, did anyone do anything exciting over the Easter break?
Well, first week I was in college. Well, I'd say unfortunately, it was actually quite nice. So
I was going to play the sad violin.
No, definitely not.
No sad violin, okay.
I was quite impressed. A lot of students came in. They did some filming during this time as well. The IT suite was actually pretty full. So I thought I'd just be on my own, to be honest, because college kind of like a ghost town during the holidays. But it was actually quite nice, quite filled with students, quite buzzing. Second week for me was just a nice bit of chilling.
Nice little bit of chill. Steve,
I feel like I didn't do a lot, but I feel like I ticked all my own personal boxes.
Nice.
Completed a video game which I wanted to finish. Watched a bunch of films. No spoilers for the rest of the podcast. And caught up with Game of Thrones. Again, won't spoil anything. And I also went to see some university friends. And I went to see some family that I haven't seen for like 15 years down in Torquay.
Oh.
So it was good.
That was productive. That sounds busy.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it wasn't. You know, I felt I did a few shifts at my other job. Which was nice. But yeah, the game I finished was Red Dead Redemption, which was Red Dead Redemption 2, might I correct myself, which is very good. Very sad to have finished that. And then I got on the Zelda hype train, and I've been on that train until the present day. Still on it, which is good. As for films, we'll get onto that later. So ribs with the lines on that one.
Looking forward to that.
Nice.
And yeah, it's been nice. Not used to having time off, so I took it in my stride. Did get a little lethargic midweek 2, and I felt I'm ready to come back now. So this, the summer holidays are very welcomed, but at the same time, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with myself. You might see me sitting outside the college in mid-August, just let me in,
please.
But yeah, no, it was really nice, really, really sweet.
Nice.
How was Mexico?
Yeah, I went to Mexico.
You lucky bum.
I know. Well, I wasn't lucky because I had to pay for it all, but my bank balance was not happy
I
with
can
me
imagine. Sad wallet.
The slightest. Sad wallet. No, Mexico, very hot. Very, very hot. We worked out that we were dead like on the very line of like the Tropic of Cancer, which was incredibly hot. Oddly enough, the hottest part of the day, not midday over there, it's 4:00 in the afternoon.
Oof.
Is the hottest part of their day.
Is that when the sun's high?
That is when the sun is like just beaming down on your face.
Jeez.
There was like, I think.
Did you have air conditioning? Aside from being outside, obviously.
I had aircon in 3 of the 4 hotels.
Oh.
The last hotel didn't have any air conditioning.
That's got to be painful.
It was very painful. Basically, like daytime temperature varied from about, if we were on the coast, on like the west coast by the Pacific Ocean, it was quite nice and breezy. So it got down to a nice 26, 27, which I was like, this I can cope with. This is pleasant. And if you got a bit too warm, you could just have a little dip in the sea. It was great. But at the peak heat. Was about 34.
Wow.
And that was daytime temperature. Nighttime temperature fluctuated from about 17 up to about 21, which is not my weather. So yeah, aircon was definitely
a good time,
on
though.
Full whack. The wedding was beautiful. The country is beautiful. Wherever you look, there's a cactus. That's not even an understatement. Like the places we drove, I swear we're just literally driving through a desert with cacti. Just that was it.
Wow.
Really beautiful, picturesque. Saw some really cool things. They do love a nice patterned sign in like massive font for you to get like your picture with. So took quite a few of those. Yeah, no, it was nice. It was good. I think 10 days was enough. Although it did feel like a little bit of a school trip. Because obviously everything was planned. Like, today we're doing this. Today we're doing this. Today we're doing this. So there wasn't much like flex to do your own thing, because obviously Spanish is not a language I know very well, it was a lot harder to kind of do your own thing. You're just like, hola, quesadilla, por favor. And it like, yeah, I mean, a Duolingo helped me to like understand things if they spoke quite slowly. And I was just kind of like, See,
I bet they speak
pretty
quickly.
But I think my favourite Spanish conversation was in the taxi going from the last hotel to the airport to flying back at like about 9:00 at night. So me and my other friend who's a teacher, we were getting the same taxi back because obviously we had to work on Tuesday. Some of my friends are flying back actually they probably would have landed by now actually. Flying back last night, but it's also today. Time travel. Basically the guy spoke no English at all in the taxi. So obviously, luckily we used the traditional app Uber because apparently that's very prevalent in Mexico, and I'm just like, okay, I will use this app now.
Universal app. I can use it.
It's my only option here. So my lovely driver Jose, he did not understand a word of English I was saying. I was like, okay, Terminal Dos. Do not take me to Terminal Uno. But basically, the main flow of conversation revolved around the Premier League and Manchester City, because the Champions League game was between Man City and Tottenham happened like the previous night. So it turns out football is a universal language. And nice. You can just say player names, and he's like, yeah, see. I'm just like, okay, we're conversing. But yeah, it was that was such a funny conversation for about 25 minutes of me trying to understand what he was saying using Google Translate on my friend's phone. And then because they couldn't speak very good Spanish, like with like the accent and like the accents on the E's and N's and stuff, literally throwing their phone in my face for me to then having to like talk Spanish that I didn't quite know. Dear. And I was just kind of like words, but it kind of worked. We got to Terminal 2 on time.
I'm about to say, at least you've made it back.
But yeah, we got to the right terminal. We had an hour to spare. We were like, But yeah, otherwise, beautiful country. I would have liked to see Mexico City a little bit more, but the wedding was lush. Like no wedding, I don't think can one up it in England, because it was basically like reception venue at the top of a small little hill overlooking the Pacific Ocean as the sunset came down, and it was just like, it's so pretty.
Nice.
But yeah, that was my Easter, and then I came back and slept a lot to try and
catch up.
Yeah, to try and get rid of the jet lag. But yeah, that's
Very
been
nice.
me.
We had a bit of heat.
We had some heat waves.
I came off the plane and was just like, am I still in Mexico?
I know it wasn't.
But it's a bit cooler. I like it.
Yeah, I got in my car to drive to Milton Keynes, and my car was telling me it was 31 degrees. And I was like, I think it was just because it was sitting in direct sunlight all day.
Yeah. Jeez.
And
crikey.
Yeah, it was warm. Like, it was very warm. And then the day I actually get the shorts out, the clouds come back. And I was like,
great.
Okay. But no, it's nice.
Save it. So it'll come out again, hopefully.
It's only a couple of days.
Yeah.
No,
it'll be nice.
Very sweet.
I mean, it's still sunny now, and it's, about 4:45 in the evening. Afternoon. Evening? Afternoon.
It's the summer, it's the afternoon.
It's the afternoon. Yeah, that's true. Anywho, let's move on with some new TechNet video stuff. Steve, what's coming up?
I'm a man of false promises, James. I said that there'd be a video every Monday. There wasn't.
There just wasn't.
We were making sure everyone was happy with their kit, etc. at the end of the term. So we got really caught up. We were really busy making sure everyone was all happy, which was good. Everyone was happy, besides TechNet YouTube, so we didn't manage to get anything out. And this week, we have been working on the awards. So that's kind of taken the forefront at the moment. We're trying to get ahead of the game on that. Will was very much taken up the creative side of what we're doing. I don't know how much we can say.
Nothing.
But
literally, it'd be like Avengers Endgame.
Oh, nice.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. Okay.
No spoilers. Spoiler free.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is obviously, you guys have done it for years now, and blown it out, knocked out the park. Yeah, knocked out the park every year. So I'm excited to hit the same crossbar, so to speak. But yeah, it's we've got a good idea.
Yeah, we got to start building the hype around it.
Yeah,
hype train commence.
The idea is good. Should be good fun.
We'll get some posters out. It'll look nice.
Yeah, looking at the students' work over the last few months, there's some there's some bangers in there that will win some awards, which would be nice.
Definitely.
So yeah, unfortunately, well, we're going to try and make sure we keep getting TechNet stuff out, but if you want a good awards night, you may have to bear with the odd 1 or 2 weeks without a TechNet YouTube video. But, swings and roundabouts. You've had a good run. But no, we'll find some time to get some stuff done. It'll be smaller bite-sized videos or anything like that. But yeah, we're really cracking on with the awards night.
I think it was those last 3 days of that before Easter. Well, we planned, I think we had about 3 or 4 videos planned. We're like, we'll set it, schedule it all up, ready to go. And like Steve said, there was just kit bookings just kept coming in and in and in. So we ended up having to actually cut off the kit booking form, which we haven't done in a long time. And me and Steve spent about 2 days like clawing through kit bags and making sure we got all the names right and everything like that. So, but thankfully, it actually went fairly smoothly on the day where we all gave it out. And now we're back. It's slowly filling up. It was a bit weird seeing the kit cupboard with nothing in it. I was a bit worried.
That was new to me.
Yeah,
it was kind of odd.
That was bare. We're slowly getting it bit by bit. If anyone's listening and you haven't brought your kit back, we will find you.
We will find you, and we will give you strikes. But yeah, is there anything on the horizon, or are you literally just concentrating all awards, all the head awards?
To be honest, it's going to be a case of kind of catching up from what we said in the last podcast and getting those 3 videos out. But it's literally, under maybe 8 weeks, if that, until awards evening. So that's 8 videos that you'd be expecting. But we've got to commit a lot of our time to getting the awards perfect. So keep an open mind is all I'd say. Is we might surprise you. Who knows? Yeah.
Very nice. Well, that is the TechNet video roundup with no video. Oh.
But a great announcement.
Yay! Awards is on the way and it will be lush.
And you
will all love it. Hype train is real. Right, otherwise moving on to Mr. Will Deverett and his tech news.
Hello and welcome to the freshest segment of the week.
The freshest.
Oh yeah, we got some fresh news, fresh
news
off the press. So I mentioned before we started last week's one that NAB was coming up. We may not get the coverage on that week, but we would get it after Easter. So here we are. There's been a lot of products announced. There's been most of the stuff I'd say has been updates to certain models and stuff. So Blackmagic, their Ursa 4K cameras got a little update. They can now shoot 300 frames per second in 1080p. So if anybody's looking on to go and start a production company after college, university, these are fairly affordable cameras that can now shoot ridiculous frame rates. I think it's 120 frames per second in 4K. So yeah, it's pretty impressive stuff. Obviously massive file sizes, but as a production camera that can shoot that sort of thing, really good value for money. One that really caught my eye at NAB was just this engineer who's been filming some documentaries as well, and he saw the issue where when he was shooting a documentary, the action would be unfolding in front of him, and say he might have a wide angle lens, but something's happening off in the distance, the sort of 10-15 seconds he spends swapping his lenses over could be the difference between getting that shot and not getting that shot. So he said with him and a few pals, they had a little chat, and they decided, looking back at some of the old camera tech, used to get those old television broadcast cameras that would literally swivel to different lenses. These are massive ones in the studios. He said, well, why don't we just take that sort of concept and see what we can do with it. And he's actually made like a swiveling, rotating lens turret, he's called it. So you can attach 3 different lenses. Mainly they use like prime lenses, and you can just literally flick between each lens. So you can go from a wide angle 14mm to a 50 to a 105, whatever you fancy. And you can do that in like under a second. So it saves you a lot of time. He said he's used it on a lot of shoots already. They've just been built into the prototype stage, so they're looking at, I think they're on Kickstarter and stuff. I believe its official name is the multi-turret. But definitely check that out. It's a really cool concept. You kind of look at it and you wonder, like, why has no one done this before yet with DSLRs or other cameras, but even though they've done it in the past. So I think it's a really cool take on a concept. I don't know if you guys have ever had any experiences where you've been out filming or shooting something, and you need to switch the lens to something's coming up, and then there's that whole sort of like reach into your kit bag. Do you have time to put the lens caps back on and stuff like that? I don't know, Steve, have you had any scenarios like that?
Yeah, I mean, I was down in Morganporth in Newquay, and a friend asked me to get some shots of him surfing, and I didn't bring. Well, I had it in my bag, but I was like knee deep in the ocean. I needed a longer lens, so it's having something like that where depending on the wave that he decides on, it'd be great to have a variety of lenses to tackle that, which was nice. So yeah, just from that opportunity itself, but with all the sport stuff that I've kind of enjoyed filming and documenting, it would be amazing, because sometimes you can't be picky with where you stand on a sideline or in a any sort of facility with documentary filmmaking. So I think it's a really, really solid idea.
Yeah, and a lot of people have said, well, why don't you just use a zoom lens? Because effectively you're getting like 100 lenses in one if you use like whatever sort of zoom lens you want to use. But obviously there's a lot of advantages to using a prime lens. Mainly the quality is vastly superior, and generally it's a bit cheaper to get prime lenses with fast apertures. It's very hard to get a 70 to 200 that could be like a 1.4. That just doesn't really exist. Or an example he was saying, you don't really get a 14 to a 200, which you could effectively build on this rack.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting, and it keeps all its electronics functions. And if you want to, you can even put a zoom lens on this triple turret as well. So it was a pretty crazy idea. It won quite a lot of awards for like most intuitive product of NAB. Caught my eye. I really, really liked it. That was quite cool. Steve, you saw one with Adobe CC After Effects that I think it'd be quite cool to talk about, because this should come in an update that we get over summer.
Okay, so one of the things that I know a lot of you students love to do is you have a photograph on Photoshop, and say you've got a photograph of of a friend, and in the background there is someone walking when you don't want them on there. So you'll highlight them, and then you'll use the Fill Content Aware tool, which is fantastic because you tell your Adobe software, I don't want that in there. Please can you use your magnificent mind and get rid of it. They have now brought that to Adobe After Effects to use in moving image, which for my brain is, I can't fathom how that's possible, but they've somehow managed to do it. Peter McKinnon was the person that I saw this from. I think he put out a video only a day after it was announced, because I assume he has some sort of partnership with them that helps promote it. Not too sure, could be wrong. And he used a few examples, which was really, really strong. I'll admit, bear in mind, you'll both agree that trying to fill content aware water is insane. That didn't look perfect, but for what they've already put out and for the technology that it already is, the only reason that I proper stared out that section of the screen is because I knew that there was a boat there that he filled content aware. If that was a shot in some sort of promo and I'd never seen it before, I would be none the wiser. I
feel like they should have shown it the other way around, where you saw the edited clip first and then revealed the bit that they took out. Because then, like you said, on those clips especially, they circle the area, and then your eye is taken away from the action, and you're looking at those areas, kind of scrutinizing it. But I feel for an audience member, you're going to be looking at the key point of the scene, and it's quite often you use these fill content awares, like you said earlier, to remove something in the background.
Yeah.
But it's pretty amazing. Actually, they were talking a bit more about it, and it works even better because it has more information than what Photoshop would. So if you imagine Photoshop's just using essentially a single frame of a picture and gauging information from that, whereas After Effects does that, but it can also go forward in time and backward in time to assist with calculating what was there, what wasn't there. So one good example I saw was a car on a road. Initially there's no car on the road, and then the car passes, so it looks, okay, well, let's look at before and after, and then it pretty much recreates the road from the knowledge of that. So it's actually has a possibility to do even more than what the Photoshop one can, which is pretty cool. I think we'll definitely be using that quite a bit.
Oh, absolutely.
In upcoming coursework or updates and stuff like that. So really, really cool bit of software.
Do you not think it'd help as well for any smaller people that are shooting with like logos and stuff in the background? be great to help yourself in the kind of copyright
saga
so, and just fill content out, a couple logos here and there.
And there's actually a bit that lets you, rather than just fill, and it might not create the best effect, it lets you kind of almost blur that image as well, so it's pretty cool. And that, like you said, if you're filming in a grocery store and there's something on the side that you don't want filmed because of copyright, just whack the square around it, fill content aware, job done.
Yeah, it
looked really easy to use. You basically make a mask around it, and that's it. You just track the point of your object, and then you do fill content, done.
Yeah, it's quite impressive.
A few other bits of tech news. I know, James, you put a few of these on here.
Yes, I did.
The next one coming up is OnePlus. So OnePlus has been a company, primarily mobile phones. They make a few accessories and stuff for that as well. And they've been known as the flagship killers. So initially I've heard about these back with when they were originally called OnePlus. They were initially on a few sort of Kickstarter websites. And the whole kind of reason they started is because they wanted to undercut the market. They wanted to offer the same specs of these big flagship phones, but because haven't got Samsung or Apple on the front, they wanted to offer it at a much better price.
That's very true.
Slowly they started building a much bigger market. They weren't actually in any network carriers in the UK, so you could only buy it unlocked. People really liked them. They liked the quality of the product. The customer service was okay. It didn't get the best feedback, but when the product was this good, when you're getting you're getting your money's worth from a product, people allowed bits and bobs. So they're now coming up to their 7th version of the phone. We've got a conference coming up on the 14th of May. They're going to be talking a little bit more about it. People are assuming there's going to be a normal version and a pro version.
And a pro 5G version.
All right, yeah. Well, yeah. Obviously, we had a little 5G conversation, didn't we, about the other day? So that's obviously now kicking in, and it's quite interesting. The pro version's looking like some insane specs. It's going to have a 90 hertz screen from Samsung, sort of 4K. Sort of standard, really, really high quality AMOLED. I think it was 8 gigs of RAM, half a terabyte of storage. Yeah, it was looking pretty crazy. The thing they're pushing is the screen, wasn't it? I think, James. They're saying they've kind of teased some stuff out.
Yeah, it was a 6.7 inch 3120 by 1440. So that's a 19.5 by 9 screen res. So almost 21 by 9. And like you said, at 90 hertz refresh rate, and then it comes in various sizes. You can get it with 6 gig of RAM or 8 gig of RAM or 12 gig of RAM for no reason at all.
It's almost as much as my computer.
The phone does not need 12 gigs of RAM, and you can either get it with a 128 gig of storage on board or 256 gig of storage on board. A kind of triple camera array on the back, so similar to what other companies are doing. A even faster charger than the fast charge dash charge on mine, as I've got a OnePlus 3, which now is getting a wee bit old. Bless it. It's still kicking though. Which they used to have something called dash charge, which could give you, I think, 80% charge from almost battery flat in about half an hour.
Wow.
Whereas this one is called warp charge, which, looking at the wattage, means it will be almost 1.5 times faster.
Jeez.
So it could do a full battery in about 40 minutes.
Wow.
Potentially.
See, my fast charge on my S9 is about an hour and a half, and I think that's impressive.
Yeah, the one thing I love about the OnePlus phone is, but you obviously have to plug it into its own adapter, to get the charge. But it just literally dash charges all the way up, which is really cool. Good. Inbuilt fingerprint reader in the screen, which is what they had in the 6 and 6T, whereas mine's just got a button at the bottom. Yeah. But no, I'm tempted to see what the price point is, because there's lots of rumours
I was just about to get
about
onto
the price point.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, a company built on this customer base where they offer products for a reasonable price. However, every year it's been creeping up £25, £50, and they don't just make iterations of a single digit. They normally make the 5, the 5T, the 6, the 6T. And every time they make these increments, it's about £25, £50. So initially the phones were going for about 300. Bale, I think you picked up yours. I think
mine. I didn't get mine brand new. Yeah, I got mine a few a few months before the 3T was released.
Yeah.
So I think I got mine for about $349.
Yeah, so
I think is what I paid.
Reasonable
for mine.
price for a mobile phone, considering you can now get a Samsung Fold for like $2,000.
Yeah.
Considering the specs on this, is still like
it was good.
What,
it was a good value for money.
64 gig. I think this has got a 64 inbuilt hard drive, 64 inbuilt memory, 6 gig of RAM, whatever Snapdragon
reasonable
processor.
specs.
Yeah.
Now their base model is going for about $550. So you think, okay, that's a lot of money for a phone, especially as they're only just being introduced onto phone networks now. So most people are going to be buying it outright, not on a sort of contract sort of basis. So they're going to be releasing these possible 2 versions. So you're going to have the normal version. We think probably see again another £25-50 increase. But does this Pro version now kind of take out of their ethos that they have of this consumer cheaper alternative? Once they start hitting £700-800, they're in the same league as all the other ones: Huawei, Samsung, Apple. And then you look at it and you think, well, hang on, where's the USP gone?
That's a good point.
So I don't know if they're sort of kicking themselves out of the market by trying to reach for these higher spec stuff. Because in the end of the day, the operating systems are all the same. You know, on Android, that's why Apple, obviously their ecosystem's completely different. But on an Android phone, you're looking at the screen, the display. Obviously, Google have the advantage of being able to get their software out instantly once it's ready to be updated.
Yep.
I remember companies like Motorola, they used to have to wait quite a while before they got, say, the Oreo update or the Marsh. You know, it took a while. So I think it puts them in a bit of a sticky situation. And how does that make their phones going forward? Because I doubt they're going to make a phone cheaper than their Pro model.
Yeah,
that's better. You know, so
do you think, from your experience at Vodafone, that would be your USP when someone comes in and says, "I want a cheap, affordable phone"? But do you think with them upping that, you'd be like, well, I can't say that anymore?
Yeah, well, I think it will give the opportunity for another company to do what they're trying to do. Because they've pushed themselves out of the market, I think another company could quite easily come in and be like, oh, we can offer this now for a much cheaper price. And then they're going to be like, oh, we've built up this massive customer base and now we're starting to lose them. There was definitely sort of 2 types of customers. One would come in, it'd be only Samsung, only Apple sort of thing. Those customers loyal to the brand, no matter what product was on offer, they'd stick with that. They know it works. I think that's kind of where it came from. And there was other sort of customers that say, okay, I'm not really bothered about the phone, but here's my price I want per month. What can you get me for that? Those people would tend to go for like Sony, Huawei's, that sort of thing, based on our sort of like recommendations. So, like you say, at this point, it might pass that price point of saying, well, yeah, this is worth it for that sort of price. It'd get to the point where you go, oh, you just get a Samsung, wouldn't you? So it's just interesting, yeah.
Because, I mean, from what I've kind of Googled and read to see exactly what kind of price point they're maybe thinking of going for. They thought that the entry model would be a similar price to the 66T, so somewhere around the 499-529 market, which is what currently the 6T's on at the moment.
Yeah.
If you buy it direct from OnePlus, would I get one? I'm tempted to see what they do, because if the 7 comes out and I'm just like, well, I don't think the specs kind of warrant that price jump. I'll wait and see what they do with the 6T to obviously discount that to get rid of old stock and then be like, I'll have one of those, thank you. But one thing I don't like, they got rid of the headphone jack. That made me sad.
Yeah, and you've got the little teardrop display.
I see the teardrop doesn't bother me in the slightest, to be honest. I mean, I do like on the 3 a nice big thick old bar at the top. This obviously got the camera and the like earphone bit. Like where is the earphone bit on the top of these like teardrop phones? Where have they hidden it now?
What do you mean a teardrop phone?
So it's where it's got like a little teardrop down where the selfie camera is.
Right. Okay.
Like they're trying to go bezel-less sort of thing. Yeah.
So I've always been intrigued actually where the headphone for when you're actually using a phone as a phone is, because I know most people don't actually use the phone as a phone anymore. It's more just like a portable internet machine. Yeah. But yeah, it's always intrigued me.
I think that's why I've got this. I don't want anything more. I've got an S9 Plus, and yes, that's a relatively new phone, but it has a headphone jack, as you say. Yeah. All the components are in the phone place, even though it's a modern thing. I think. I'm with you on that. I don't think I'm ready to get a phone that doesn't have a headphone jack, because I'm still, I'm not an AirPod. I'm not on the meme. I don't have AirPods. I don't want wireless headphones. I like having wired headphones. I don't know. I just want them. It's weird.
I'm with you, Steve.
So,
I'm totally with you.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting old now because the future's getting faster.
Welcome to my age. But yeah, no, the 60 does come with the USB-C to like a 3.5mm jack adapter with it, as opposed to obviously like
I don't want adapters.
I know, but unlike Apple, where you've probably got to buy your own adapter for like another 50 quid.
What's to say you couldn't charge it then?
No, so you couldn't charge and listen at the same time.
That's a nightmare.
For me, that's a nightmare.
Yeah, so for example, if I'm in the car, I've got a slightly older car. I could have my charger in and then have the aux cable plugged into my phone.
Yeah, perfect.
You couldn't do that.
No.
Interesting.
Yes. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to keep an eye on it because I think my OnePlus is getting a wee bit old and a bit slow now. The camera slightly glitches occasionally, probably because I've dropped it a few too many times. But caught it on my foot as it goes down. So I'm like, no. So I'm intrigued where it's going to go. So I will keep an eye and keep you all updated.
And then, there's a little bit of rumours about sort of next-gen consoles. So there's been some talk about PS5. I heard Harry was saying that engineer came out and openly started speaking about some of the sort of like that yes, they are working on it. Obviously they are. Everybody's going to be working on some sort of project on the sideline. So that might be like a 2020, 2021 release. Who knows? Will be interesting to see where consoles go, especially like you talked about in previous episodes, Steve, about the Google. What was it? Google?
The Stadia.
Stadia, yeah. See how that goes. Is it going to pull a Netflix and just dominate the market? We will see.
I hope so.
We will see. And that just about rounds up the tech news.
Nice.
For this week.
That's a lot of good tech there.
One last thing to throw in. It'll take me two seconds. Speaking of next-gen consoles.
Do it.
We talked about the discless Xbox.
Oh, yes.
So that's very much a thing. It's a thing now. I saw it come out, and it's literally the same shell as the original Xbox without a disc tray. So it's the same size, everything like that. And at first I laughed at it, and then I found out that the reason they've done that, and they've just made it $50 cheaper, this is the source I'm rolling with, is because if they employed people to figure out how to make the console smaller, that's going to take time and money, and ultimately make the point of the discless console redundant because it's a cheaper alternative. Thoughts?
So instead of having a disc tray, they just put a little bezel in.
I think they just wanted easy mode.
Yeah,
maybe.
Sounds like
Xbox
that's
easy
BS.
mode,
because it's $50 cheaper than a disc drived Xbox. But it's always Inside Gaming that I reference. They looked up how much a disc drive is worth, and it's worth around $45. So they've literally discounted it the price of the part and gone, okay, you can have it for that.
All
price.
they can do on the production line is just as they'll like do. Okay, this one gets one, this one doesn't. This one gets one, this one doesn't. It does allow them to tap into a market where it'll be people who couldn't afford that extra £50 now get access to one, but you essentially have to get the monthly subscription, don't you?
You'd have to, I think, because at the end of the day, $50, that's not even a full game these days. Most full releases are like in the dollars, are like $64.99, $65. That's for the standard edition. So, that kind of, I know money's very important, I get that, but in the gaming world, that's the price of a game.
I
for
thought
a disc
you'd save a bit more money than that.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
And if they were going to shave off, just $50, make it that what everyone wanted, that slim console. Yes, it's going to take a bit of time. Give it 3 months. Pay a few people, keep it $50 cheaper, and come out with the slim, or I don't know what you call it.
Yeah,
but
interesting.
Yeah, there you go.
How bizarre.
Very interesting.
Silly Xbox.
The only one I don't have.
I've never owned an Xbox. Fun fact.
I was a 360 guy for a while. Purely for friends and social reasons, but no, I was PS1, PS2, Xbox 360, PS4.
PS3.
Very happy to be back.
Ooh.
My old man had one, and it was alright. It was good. Played it for a little bit. But
the orchestra when it boots up.
Yeah,
one of my favourite sounds of all time.
But yeah, there you go.
Oh, fun. Nice. Well, that is a roundup of tech news for you. Of course, we'll have even more tech news next week, because I'm sure even more things will happen in the world that we can absolutely talk about. Coming up now, though, it is a little bit of Film of the Week. So before Easter, we all got traumatized by Old Boy, 2003.
Yes.
Thanks. And so we found out that Old Boy got a remake in 2013. So we all challenged ourselves to put ourselves through the pain of watching that film.
Well, the assumed pain at that point.
Yes, the assumed pain that it could be worse. Boys, was it worse? All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
It was. Right, obviously, I've been in Mexico, so I've not been anywhere near Netflix or any decent internet for a long period of time. And I watched it last night and was thoroughly disappointed by how bland and average it was.
Every scene I just compared to the original. I feel like they tried to make the room look as almost identical to the original as possible. I think that made it even worse. Like half the time I expected to turn around and see the original guy coming out like when he's in the shower and stuff.
And instead you see Thanos.
Performances were, oh man.
Oh, Jeff.
Yeah, it hurt. It hurt. I'm not sure the actor's name of the antagonist. I just couldn't get behind him. I just really couldn't. I just felt like he was taking the mickey the whole time.
I also thought, would you put them in the same graduating class? The protagonist and the antagonist, if you put them side by side, would you say that they were in the same graduating class?
No.
20 years later?
No.
He looked almost like he could have been his father.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Because at least in the Japanese one, yes, Odesu looked slightly older, I'll give you that, but he was locked up for 15 years. Even prior to being locked up, the protagonist, I don't know his name, I can't remember, looked very old.
John, isn't it? John, yeah.
For me personally, all the kind of, critical approaches that we could tackle with the Japanese, the 2003 one, is it Japanese? It's not Japanese, is it?
Not too sure. Don't comment.
They, with the janky camera movements to kind of show a bit of dysfunctionality, etc. All those undertones and stuff, they were just
South Korean.
Yeah. I think we said that last time.
We did.
Yep.
It didn't feel right to say.
No, South Korean.
There was nothing challenging for an audience in that film at all, in the slightest. In my opinion, the choreography was laughable. One of my favourite scenes from the South Korean version was when he goes back to where he was captured, and there's an incredible fight scene. The fight scene in the 2013 one
lasts like 20 seconds, isn't it?
Yep. And it's just not good. It's in like what looks like a parking lot or a warehouse of sorts.
What made me laugh is if you look at the guys in the background, they're just kind of waving. They're like whatever tools they've picked up, they're like waving it gracefully at him, and as if he's like kind of dodged it. And then they just wait for their turn to get smacked in the head.
Yeah, and I just couldn't engage with him as a character. Like Odesu with his like monologue when he was saying, "I have no idea what punching a wall for 15 years is going to do. Let's find out." And then he's like, "Oh, it actually worked." And then there was that jokey scene where it doesn't work. There's none of that. There's none of it at all. And it was like scenes were different. Like the dumplings, him going around searching for dumplings. Yes, it was sweet, but it wasn't. It didn't match up the same. And it was just so frustrating. Obviously, the reveal was just as James said, very Star Wars-esque.
I just loved that bit at the end where obviously he's being told about what he did, and he just like goes onto his knees and does the classic no thing. I'm just totally expecting the camera to be above him and just pan vertically upwards, because it was just it ruined it. It ruined what obviously was in the original one quite a shocking moment and made it comedic.
Yeah.
And it totally bypassed the point for me.
Well, obviously they were like showing images in that kind of glass container.
Oh, like the projector on it.
Yeah. I mean, the great reveal was you as an audience figured it out with Odesu because he looks at the photo album. So you don't have to know what incestual act he had performed, but they just whack on a projection. Was there a camera in there? How did they get that footage? These little loopholes really frustrated me. And when the credits rolled, I've never hated it. That film, I literally just said instantly. I didn't even ask because Jade, my girlfriend, hadn't seen the original. I told her about it. She went, "That sounds amazing." I was like, "Well, I want to watch the 2013 one." She went, "Right, count me in." She thought it was okay, and for somebody who didn't even know the story that well, because I'm not really great at explaining the full plot of Old Boy in 10 minutes. She said it was okay, and it
hurt you.
Even if it was for no, like because the original one was so great, like wow, like jaw dropping. If the 2013 one, to someone who's not ever been involved in the process, just goes, it was okay. Surely the filmmakers have failed.
I
Spike
felt
Lee,
like
isn't it?
there wasn't. Yeah. I just felt like there wasn't. The emotional connections were so weak, and when it came to the reveal, I didn't get anywhere near the sort of. I suppose on one hand you could say we knew it coming, but just the way they revealed it, like you were saying, just didn't evoke any emotional.
Yeah, I wasn't crushed for the protagonist.
Yeah.
But I was crushed.
There was one bit where the antagonist gets on his knees with him, and they sort of like share that moment like they did in the other one, in the original. And that was the only time where I thought, and I could see in his eyes that he'd like completed what he'd set out to do, and I thought that was the only bit where I could see some emotion.
Yeah.
It was just how it was. If you could show someone an example of how to Americanize a film or a piece of art or something, you'd say, watch the American one first, then watch the original. I'd say that.
Yeah, because the suicide scene in the old one is amazing. Oh, it's so powerful. Yeah. In the remake, it's pathetic. As far as to say,
it's like he points the gun at John, doesn't he? At first, and you're like, you're not even worried at that point. You're like, you could kill each other; it wouldn't really matter, sort of thing. But and then just obviously.
Yeah, there was no power, as you say, no real emotion. Yes, they've put a lot of money into the film, so there's going to be glimmers of it was nice, but I don't know.
That was alright, I guess.
I don't know. It's difficult because I would give it a 3, primarily because of seeing the original. I'd be really curious to get 5 or 6 people to just watch that one, having no idea that the other one even existed, because Jade knew the other one existed and knew the rough premise, so she could have watched it with the same anticipation of this is going to be incredible, was disappointed. I'd be very curious to see if somebody who had never even heard of the original to watch the 2013 one and give their thoughts. I'm interested, because I feel like we're heavily swayed.
Well, on IMDb also agrees with us, with the 2013 version having a Metascore of 49.
Wow.
Which is quite bad, and the 2003 one having 74. But the IMDb rating, I think, is the bigger gulf, with the 03 one getting 8.4.
Wow, nice.
And the 2013 version getting 5.8, which
That's
in
generous.
IMDb terms is incredibly average. 5.8.
So it's below average.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it. I think I'd give it a 4, maybe. Yeah.
I think I was just frustrated because if they were gonna, even if they did it scene by scene, I'm like, fine. You know what? Fine. That's cool. I don't mind that. But it just came across so half-hearted.
They attempted to do stuff scene by scene, but they just did it worse.
Okay, and then gave up at points.
Yeah, and you're just like, come on.
Because I think, as filmmakers, do you not think that they've stood in a room post edit, or even whilst they're on set, and just be like, are we topping the original? Are we doing the original any sort of justice here? And I think if anybody thought, they
I might look into Spike Lee's if he's done like a commentary on it.
Yeah,
or
that'd be very interesting.
I imagine the director's commentary over that going, we did bad here. Sorry.
It's like
he's obviously trying to bring a massive hit of the Asian sort of films, Asian cinema, to America, but
maybe he loved the original that much, and he just absolutely whiffed trying to bring it.
He had an open goal and skied it.
Absolutely skied it.
God. Oh crikey!
But yeah,
a resounding one of these.
Shame. I feel like it leads me on to a better ending though, with something else that I watched. If you want to talk about that.
Wait, Steve, have you caught up?
I've caught up.
Oh, 2 seconds. Sorry, just to finish.
Rewind.
2 seconds.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
The ending of the newer Old Boy.
Yes.
New Old Boy.
he does the smile, right, to the camera. I was a bit confused. So he writes the note saying, "You'll never see me again. Goodbye.
Yep.
This is it." But then it cuts to him. He's obviously gone back to the place and he's paid to spend the rest of his life there, it looks like. But then in the background, it has the shot of her in the window. So like she's driving away in the car, like, and then there's like the shot of her in the background of the room. So is that? And then he smiles at the camera. I didn't really get it. So is he now monitoring her or?
Oh,
like,
yeah, I don't know.
Because that was, in the end of the other one, the whole idea where he might have brainwashed her memory, or might have brainwashed himself, but we don't know if he's remembered it or not.
Yeah.
But they do the same sort of smile at the camera, but I don't know what it's.
I don't
know.
Sort of, yeah.
Because there was no hypnotizing in the new one.
Not at all.
None of it.
He just writes the note, gives us some money, but then there's this really weird shot thing at the end where I was like, what is that about?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that one myself.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll look a bit into that. But yeah, ending was just no ending was good. Yeah.
Naff.
Yeah. On to Steve's
3s and 4s.
Yeah.
Steve, you're getting one of these.
Hey.
Does that mean you've caught up?
I have. I watched The Martian yesterday.
Oh, nice. He's cutting it fine.
Very fresh.
He's cutting his deadlines.
To be fair, I prioritised Game of Thrones, which was bad of me.
Yeah, no,
But
that's good.
no,
It's good to
not-
catch up.
yeah.
Now you're spoiler free.
But that is because The Martian, it says it's on Netflix, but you can't play it. So I had to pick up a copy of it.
They do that when it's like used to be on there. Sort of thing.
The original Old Boy is on Netflix. I'm quoting here. If you search Old Boy Netflix, you can get onto
a page, isn't it?
A page of Netflix, but you cannot play it.
Oh.
The original the original Old Boy.
Oh, the 2013 one is on there if you do want to watch it, by the way. Yeah.
Which we don't recommend.
I really enjoyed The Martian. So I was like, okay, it's going to be a long film. Here we go. And, the first 10 minutes, I was a bit like, what am I watching here? A bit curious. As soon as he wakes up and gets into the hangar and sorts himself out, I was like, okay, wow. Instantly, the inciting incidents really early. I was pretty hooked. And there was no time where I was like, okay, it's lacking. It was problem after problem. The great thing I found, I don't know if you guys saw it, a problem would arise. You feel like he was succeeding and then he'd fail. I feel like it could have maybe been 2 films, which I'm really happy it wasn't. With the kind of, okay, he's sustained life. The film could have maybe even ended, very short film, but sustained some life. The bomb could have gone off and it could have ended. You may have never have known if he had survived, and then it could have been the rescue mission. Would have been a completely separate film. And I love the fact that it was one huge journey. I really felt like I could really grow with these characters as I was going through it. One thing I had at the back of my mind was the whole comedic nomination.
I was about to mention that.
Yeah. So I don't see why they did it, but I loved the fact of is Matt Damon's character and how he really looked at the bright side of everything as much as he could. Obviously, there's a few scenes where he really loses it when he thinks he's at rock bottom, but it was really nice and really light-hearted a few of the times when he was saying, "Did you know I'm the best botanist on this planet? Just so you're aware." And it's just funny.
Yeah.
Little stuff like that was really, really amusing. And that comedy was fantastic, I found. And I'm not really one to shed a tear for a film, but I was very, very close.
Oh.
When spoiler alert.
Oh wait, hang on. Sorry.
So if you have seen The Martian, if you haven't seen The Martian, do skip forward. But when it's a pretty chaotic scene for his rescue. But when he actually gets rescued, boy, you've been on a journey with him. You're really actually pleased. Because I thought it was going to go the way of he was going to pop his suit and go off into the distance.
Yeah.
And that would have been fine. I'd have been really happy with that ending. But it was a really nice moment, and I feel like I got some closure when you get a couple scenes with him on Earth. I thought that was really, really nice. It, again, could have ended with them travelling back. Everyone lives happily ever after. A lot of films don't give you that closure, which is nice.
It's a bit like 2001, where you get that little bit at the end that kind of just rounds it off.
Which was really sweet. I mean, the whole science behind it, I'm not really good with science, but I thought it was all really impressive because it went over my head, a lot of it, but at the same time, I felt like I was on the same page. I thought the The diary entries were really what's the word? To help drive the story. My mind's going blank.
Motivational? Or?
Yes, motivational, but not like subjective. Like when
Poignant.
when people say, "I need to go here to do this." It's like no, it was actually really good to help drive the story. So yeah, like I've really enjoyed it. It was a really, really nice film. I feel like I've done myself an injustice because it is similar to Matt Damon's character in Interstellar. It just has a very different kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, it didn't turn around and start trying to kill them.
No. But ultimately, it's quite nice because I feel like I'd be curious to see what would happen if he had kind of gone a bit insane. And that's where I think, just watch Interstellar. So, really cool film. Really enjoyed more or less all of it. I'd give it 7.5.
Ooh.
I would say up maybe even an 8, but I think it's because it's one of those kind of feel good films at the end. I may be slightly swayed.
Do you think it was worthy of its Golden Globe win? Best comedy?
No, definitely not. But I did enjoy its light-hearted nature.
Definitely.
I think that was a little breath of fresh air for space films that always take themselves to be very, very serious. Especially with his, with the evacuation when they tell them, how much they hate him and stuff, and they don't want him to come back, and it's been fun without him for the last 3 months. That's some pretty savage stuff. And other things like when he finally makes contact with Earth, and they're like, he's like, he swears and says, "Why the hell haven't you told the crew?" And they were like, you're talking to the whole world. Can you please be respectful? And you can read between the lines of what he says.
Yeah.
And I find that really funny because obviously we only know astronauts to be model citizens who never say anything wrong. And it's quite nice when stuff gets a bit hairy that, we see the human side, the relatable side of an astronaut, which is nice. I liked it. It was cool. Cool film. 7.5.
Solid.
I
love The Martian.
Yeah.
I'd happily give it a 9 all day, every day. Love it.
I think I loved Interstellar that much more. That's up at a 9. But I think Interstellar missed that kind of subtle comedic element, and it is a real mind melt. But yeah, both are cool films. I should have checked it out a long time ago, I feel. Very much up my street, a film like that. Really enjoyed it.
Nice. What are we going to watch this week, fellas? That's the question.
We didn't really discuss one, did we, actually?
Are we all going to try and watch Endgame or something?
Oh, no. I'm not even on Ultron.
Oh, Stephen.
That's the big thing. I know a lot of people would be like, what? They churn them out.
How about we do Game of Thrones episode 3?
Oh, I'm in. I'm up to date. I'm up to date.
Yeah?
I caught up over the weekend.
As I'm sure a lot of people know, it's meant to be the big battle of Winterfell.
I mean, there is going to be spoiler alert galore in that episode.
How about that?
Yeah,
cool.
Game of Thrones episode 3.
Film of the week shall become TV show of the week.
Feature length. It's 82 minutes.
Oh wow! I didn't know.
Practically, it's a film.
All right, there we go.
It's not a spoiler either, but they've said that the battle scene is a good hour of the episode.
Damn.
It's an hour. It's going to be the
longest.
We're
just going to cut into other battles.
I think it was 73 days it took filming this.
It's silly.
Crikey.
Looking forward to it. A lot of theories to discuss as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Which we could chat about for the next hour or so. But
maybe we should just have a Game of Thrones segment until it's finished.
Have a Game of Thrones special. Yeah. Let's do it.
Add an extra 10 minutes each time to talk about some fan theory. But no, it's great. Really, really good.
Let us know if you'd like to hear that. But chucking a bit of Game of Thrones on the
more Thrones.
Big up Now TV letting me catch up. Took away season 6 from me, so it took me a while.
Big up McDonald's for the Now TV passes.
Absolutely.
Oh dear.
Oh, love it. So next week we will discuss Game of Thrones. #spoiler alert. Otherwise, lastly, as tune of the week, what was I listening to on my travels in Mexico? Jade Bird's album came out. It's really good. Do recommend. But that's not my tune of the week. My tune of the week is, do you remember a band called the Lumineers?
I do,
yeah.
They've released a new song called Gloria. Obviously, they just keep picking women's names and calling them songs. If you like the Lumineers, you'll love this. It's very Lumineers-y. If you don't know who the Lumineers are, kind of think Mumford & Sons, but less Mumford & Sons. I think is probably my best.
Beats per minute are slightly less.
Yes.
Nice.
A bit more, instead of kind of being a bit more sort of like country-ish, you could always describe Mumford as. It's a bit more kind of indie, which I quite like.
Less banjo.
Less, yes, 100% less banjo than Mumford and Sons. They did a live performance of it on Graham Norton, I think it was, which was quite a nice live version. Would recommend watching that if you want to see them sing it live. Otherwise, I'll link the proper vid in the description on YouTube /SoundCloud / whatever other platform we're on these days. But yeah, that's the Lumineers and Gloria.
Nice.
It's glorious.
Excellent.
Terrible pun. To the pun patrol for me.
Where's the tumbleweed effect?
I don't have one. I've got an air horn. That's the nearest I've got.
The bird tweeting.
Oh, I thought the fader was up. Oh well. Anyway, so I'll put that on the Where's My Kit Bag playlist as well on Spotify, so you can check it out too. Otherwise, that pretty much ends our bumper episode after Easter half term.
I hope you guys enjoyed the extended cut this time. It was just a longer episode, I guess, wasn't it?
The extended cut.
Yeah, filling in for a bit of the time we lost over Easter.
Absolutely. Otherwise, this has been the Where's My Kit Bag podcast. I've been James.
I'm Will.
And I'm Steve.
And tune in next week for more Where's My Kit Bag podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Where's My Kit Bag podcast. Please feel free to drop us a comment about anything you want us to cover in the comment section down below, or hit us up on Instagram or Twitter at F6 Media Film.